Welcome to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour. Sorry for the inconvenience. We're back grooving both platforms, YouTube Boom Boom Room and the Facebook Boom Boom Room. This is your midday sports happy hour, the best 120 minutes of your day. I see you guys. Of course, the starting five wouldn't be right if I didn't welcome into the room Paul Miranda, of course, businessman. Of course, we have TAE Travel. Shout out to you as well. Just hopped up in there. We are grooving today, and we are going to, of course, start right off and dive right in. Robert had his own look, is in travel mode today. Of course, Texas Southern University, he's on the broadcast. How many of you guys checked that broadcast out last night as TSU went on they opened up a fresh can of whoopers on Mississippi Valley State University last night, en route to outscoring them by 30 points in the second half of winning that game, 82-53. That's TSU, of course, improved to 2-1 in SWAC play, and Mississippi Valley falls to 0-4 early in the season. Now, in this district conference play, Prairie View, on the other hand, they were in Arkansas Pine Bluff, and they were victorious last night, 75-64. The Panthers prevailed over Arkansas Pine Bluff. That's a great win for the PV as they improve to 3-1 on the season. Now, mind you, Texas Southern had a game on Saturday that was postponed, and I think they will play that game I want to say it wrong. I think we'll play the game on Wednesday, maybe. They're going to play backdoor and play Arkansas Pine Bluff. So Texas Southern is back off to their winning ways. That's consecutive wins for them after beating Grambling. Coming back, of course, second half win in that game as well. Shout out to them. Meanwhile, in other SWAC action last night, Southern defeated Bethune-Cookman 69-53. Southern improves to 4-0. Bethune-Cookman is now 2-1 in SWAC play. How about Jackson State? 103-93 over Alabama A&M. Jackson State improves to 3-0 in SWAC play, while Alabama A&M is 2-2. Now, of course, that particular game needed overtime to complete. That Jackson State and Alabama A&M, in 3 overtimes, mind you, that game needed to finish. Triple overtime win for Jackson State over Alabama A&M. Also, Grambling 79, Florida A&M 72. Grambling gets their first win in SWAC play. Remember, they opened up losing against Prairie View, then fell to TSU, and of course, now they have picked up a win over Florida A&M. So, and last but not least, Alcorn 67, Alabama State 65. And that Alcorn improves to 2-1 on the season, while Alabama State falls to 2-2. So that is after your 4 games in for most of your SWAC teams, aside from TSU, Arkansas Pine Bluff, Jackson State, Florida A&M have only played 3 games thus far. So shout out, of course, I see the rest of you guys are forming into the Boom Boom Room. Of course, yours truly, Jim Hicks, RCS Sports. We're going to roll right through a whole lot of topics today. I'm going to take your calls, open up the phone lines, hopefully later on in the show. Going to take your questions. We're going to talk a lot. I see rest of forming up. Of course, you're just getting in our rehash. That starting 5. If you guys missed it, Paul Miranda, he's starting at the 1. Businessman is at the 2. We're going to go with TAE Travel, be my swing at the 3. We go D. Holcomb. D. Holcomb, you're playing the 4 today. And, of course, Kirk Collins Sr. will be at the 5 spot in today's starting lineup. You guys, welcome to the Chop Shop. We're going to ask you and invite you to share the show, if you would. Share the show to your pages. Share the show to your groups. and let's get through this thing. It's been a couple of months since I did the 2-hour swing on my solo. That is, so we're gonna get through this thing and rock and roll. Guess what? The time gonna move fast as you would believe. I'm gonna also, like I say, stay tuned on the back nine. I'm gonna go and dive into some recruiting news. We'll talk events. We'll talk different things and just take another temperature of the post and a lot of in regards to grassroots basketball in Greater Houston and among other cities. Shout out to the recovery efforts to our friends over in the suburban Los Angeles area as they attempt to put their lives back together after the tragic fires that have taken the lives of over 15 people. Now, I'm loading up. Let me power up with some juice. And shout out to, I see you guys in there. Jerry Harris, I see you. I see Herb Baker. I see you up in there. Big Coach, I see you. Thaddeus Moody, shout out up to the Windy City. Let me give me a little hook of this stuff right here, and let's get this thing popping. Now, of course, I guess we can go NFL first, because I got, basketball is easy. We NFL. Texas, the Texans, that is, crushed the Chargers, and now they will face the Chiefs. First and foremost, I'm impressed, proud that the Texans got over this hump, and at least they have matched last year's progress. At least they've matched it, and by winning one postseason game, right? So hold on, let me. I'm updating something in the boom boom room, right? And that way now people that are forming in will get to see what we're talking about, right? So I got that topic, NFL. I don't know how you guys feel, but the Texans, once they start the grooving, you got to realize 2 key players out. All right, Stephon Diggs, and then Date, right? The running back. And this team still found a way to smoothly get it done. I was also impressed that the new wide receiver that they picked up, Johnson. I picked him up off waivers a couple of weeks ago. I was impressed with the fact that he hadn't been in the news. No sound bites from him that can potentially cause a distraction. So this team, they're rolling through that first round. Every game was a blowout, except for Sunday night's game. That is, every game was the Commanders when they won the kick at every other game was a win by double digits. Do you guys realize that? Every game was a double-digit spread. It finished with a result, except for that buzzer-beating kick that hit the upright by the Commanders. Now, next up, we're still talking about the Texans right now. The Chiefs. First of all, if the Bills had lost to Denver, then the Texans would have had to go and play Baltimore. I'm not gonna lie. I was suited and booted on Christmas Day when the Texans came on against Baltimore. Baltimore, be more in NRG Stadium. Christmas Day. And Texans got drugged. What it was, 30-something-3? So I would much rather, after that whooping, you played the Chiefs, right? Lost to the Chiefs, 27-19. That was a competitive game. Chiefs dominated controlled the flow, but the Texans didn't get. It wasn't 31-3, right? I'd much rather play these Chiefs right now, a team that knocked them out the playoffs, a team that's beat them a few times in a row, than to play Baltimore, who's arguably the hottest team in the league, with a quarterback who's hearing them whispers that even though you've won MVP 2 times already, and that a reason why you shouldn't win it this time is it's battle between him and Josh Allen. So, and of course, not to mention the running back from Baltimore. I don't know. You gotta, in order to get for the Texans to even, we're not the Dallas Cowboy fans. We're not the Dallas Cowboy followers. We're not the Dallas Cowboy faithful. We just rooting for 1 week at a time, rooting for a good game, and if it's in there, man, let's see if we can pull it on out. Playing with house money. Not necessarily, but you have nothing much to lose being a heavy underdog in San Diego this Saturday. 3:30. Kickoff time. What they have to lose? Just don't want to get blown out. Now, if you're in the game, you got a chance to win the game. You never know what can happen. You never know what can happen. But like I said, I would much rather play these guys than. Oh, I said 31-3. Thank you, busy man. 31-2. That score was. So, like I say, anything can happen. It's a reason that they call upsets. Did you see that game last night? The Rams mollywopped Minnesota. Minnesota didn't even stand a chance. They come out there. It was almost like that game last night, the Rams in Minnesota, was the scout being perfected on all levels. Whatever the scout was, they went out, rolled down the field like it was nothing on the first possession, and it just didn't light up. 24-3 at the half. Think about how they feeling in Minnesota right now. 14 wins. Got all these folks dressing up in like they Eric the Red. You get up there in the Rams, think about it. Some of the Ram players were affected by the fires. If that ain't a distraction, I don't know what it is. Families got to relocate, then you got to go to Arizona for 4 more days. I understand, and all this now. The Rams advance to play the Eagles. And of course, I think that's the last time the Rams have lost. Was when they played. Their last loss this season, I think, was against the Eagles. The Eagles aren't playing smooth football right now. They're sputtering, but they're managing to pull the wins out. The Lions and the Commanders. Once again, speaking of playing with house money, you guys remember, Washington is in the same position that the Texans were in a year ago. Rookie quarterback, mesmerized the NFL. Set a couple of records in the process. I'm talking about Jaden Daniels. And, picked up a playoff win in the process. Now you go take your talents on the road to Detroit. And, I'm going to tell you, I'm rooting for a good game. These teams, remember now, they haven't played each other all season. So it's not like they're familiar with each other from man on man. The way this young boy Daniels is playing right now, he's playing such a free-spirited brand of football. Guys, I mean, they're fun to watch right now. Detroit, guess what? It goes from top to bottom. Detroit, you know what? They've been doing what they've been doing all season. I respect that. I mean, they've been kicking butt. Coming from behind. A few games you think, well, man, might have got lucky, especially against the Texans. Texans had no business losing that game when they lost to the Lions. Once again, a field goal, buzzer beater, decided that. But Jared Goff's doing big things this season. 37 touchdowns, 4,800 yards passing. You hear me? And speaking of like running backs, that boy Gibbs, he's serious at running back. Over 1,400 yards rushing for him this season. But Detroit, the spread right now is 9. They're laying 9. Do you guys take that 9 or do you give it? Spread is 9. That's Detroit, Washington. And that game, of course, will be played on Saturday at 7 p.m. Spread is 9. Do you take it or give it? All right? We got a question. Okay. According to Paul Moran, he said Deontay Johnson just got waived by the Texans. Right on cue. Just when I said no distractions from him, we haven't heard a peep from him. He only got one pass last week in the win. It's going to seep out what happened. Either A, you're not good in the locker room, which proved that when you were with Baltimore by not wanting to go in the game. B, you probably was upset you only got one pass, one reception in a win, in a playoff win with a team you just joined 2 weeks ago, mind you. Or the Texans probably say, you know what? We good with what we got. We're good with what we got. It's not going to work out with you, big fella. You got to realize these wide receiver superstars and mega stars, they're getting younger. It's a lot of new boots out there on the ground. Right? And I'm reading the comments, and you say, I'll put some of the comments on the page. Say, what did Johnson do? You mentioned earlier that, well, I just mentioned he only got one reception, if I'm not mistaken, in that loss. So that's why I was glad about, because based on what you hear him coming out of Baltimore, right? Businessman says the Texans don't want to see the Ravens anymore. Guess what? If the Texans were to see the Ravens, it would be in the AFC Championship. What the hell do Texans got to lose at that point? If you got beat like that, any inkling of heart That's the exact opposite. That's the exact opposite. You actually should want to see another piece of them. You want another piece of them. And does Baltimore enter that game supremely cocky? First of all, if the Texans go on the road and beat Kansas City, it automatically makes ground for a good game. But Baltimore, don't jump the gun. Baltimore and Buffalo. I wonder if Hatter is listening right now. Hatter, when does the MVP votes go in? Do you think they went in already? Even though I know it's for the regular season, I think they probably went in. But I wish, if they're going to announce it deep into the playoffs, like the NBA does, then hell, you ought to include them first couple of rounds. Or just start announcing it immediately at the end of the season. That way people won't get things confused. Because truth be told, it's going to be a travesty in the voting process. It's a tight race that some people believe. I firmly believe that Jackson is the MVP. I believe that. You can't punish a man. If it's a regular season vote, you're going to punish him for what he hadn't done in the postseason in previous years. This is a season by season vote. This is not a career body of work vote, even though it does weigh into the mind or the psyches of some of the voters. This game, Buffalo and Baltimore. Boy, if one of these quarterbacks dominate, let's say, for example, if they gave the MVP to Josh Allen, and they voted him already but hadn't announced it, and Jackson kicks his butt. And then they come in next week or so and tell you guys about who's the MVP. The public sentiment is going to scowl. That would probably be enough to move people to move and change something in the way or the manner for which they release it. That could be. That could be. So don't look and try to place the Ravens in the AFC Championship yet. Buffalo is good. Buffalo is very good. So is the Ravens. I like this Final Four in the AFC. I really, really do. I really, really do. I'd rather see the Texans play the Chiefs than to watch the Chargers play the Chiefs. You know? I like this Final Four in the AFC. In the NFC, not so much. Unless the Lions make it, whoever comes out of the AFC is going to probably be the favorite in the Super Bowl. Unless the Lions make it out. You know, I'm looking at it. I'm just curious as the Ravens and yeah, that's right. The Ravens. Speaking of Mollywop, remember I told you the Ravens beat the Texans. What was it? 31-2. Right? Did I get that right, guys? 31-2. Back on Christmas Day. Right? That's a plus 29. Well, they beat the Buffalo 35-10 in week 4. They beat Buffalo 35-10. Now, of course, that was a couple of months back. These are this a different team now, yeah, but even then, in that game, right? So Buffalo knows what they're up against and knows what happened the last time they played this Ravens team, right? And yeah, I see Demetrius says, let me add this to let me get y'all to see this. He says, Buffalo whips the Chief and the Lions. I'll wait. Yeah, but Buffalo didn't beat the Ravens. 35-10 was that score. Thanks, Paul Miranda. He says we didn't need Hatter for that one. The MVP is announced on February the 6th, but you and I know the votes go in before then. That's kind of like saying the McDonald game, they're going to announce those. Just like in basketball, it always leaks out once that envelopes gets passed, and once the word, they got to start engraving the trophy. It seeks out every year. And because some media guys have a stronger inside connects than others, and it's going to seep out again. But boy, I hope for the sake of the NFL that they can just tell everybody to hold tight to after this game before you put your votes in. I'm just telling you. You want to get this one right. This is a very tight, in the eyes of some, season or a tight race. You want to get it right. It's no rush. February the 6th is the announcement date. Right? McNelson says, so you're saying this game is the tiebreaker? Which game you talking about? Oh yeah, this game is the tie. This game definitely should be, because whoever loses this game, Nelson, goes home. They got to get mothballs. Go get coupons from Pilgrims. Get the dry cleaning. They're gone. And whoever loses this game is going to have an extra sour taste in the mouth because in all likelihood, the loser of this game could possibly lose that MVP race. So that's a sour taste in his mouth. In order to lose that game, that means there's going to be some passes that you didn't complete. There's going to be some plays that didn't get executed properly. There's going to be, and guess what? And probably the opposing quarterback, will probably have outplayed you. So you got to wait all the way to next year. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. In regards to that. So, yes. You guys, have you shared the show yet? We'll give you a chance to share the show. It is 47 minutes past the hour. 47 minutes past the hour. We'll let you share the show. And meanwhile, I want to remind you of the upcoming Middle School City Championships. Middle School City Championships take place February the 15th and the 16th at MacArthur High School. The Middle School City Championships. What we do is middle school basketball. Every district, first or second place. And pretty much right now in middle school, they're in the last couple of weeks of their season. Everybody pretty much know who's first or second right now. At least first for sure. And what we do is we take the champions from all of the districts and they go up under the same roof and they play a citywide championship. Let me tell you something. There's no greater amount of energy that's in the building of any of my events throughout the year than this particular event right here. Because of so many teams come into this thing undefeated. So many teams coming to this thing and having nobody scored over 30 on us. Having nobody did this. Or so-and-so averages 2 dunks a game. You know, there's so many. You hear this guy here, he's the best thing since sliced bread. You know, and you got to understand, a lot of these kids played with or against each other in grassroots basketball, but these are their middle school teams. And lo and behold, we all know that some kids, lots of kids get better. They get better, right? They get better, and some kids don't. Some kids improve. Some kids can play better in their high school setting than they can in the grassroots setting. And these are times when you move the needle. So if you're in the greater Houston area, the middle school city championships, look at the previous winners. The previous winners. I'm going to put this, the previous winners, I'm going to put it on the page, and you guys will see the previous winners. That 2024 Manville High School won last year in 8th grade. They are only one of 2 teams to repeat. They won in the 7th grade the year before. All 5 starters from that Manville team are playing varsity at Manville High School right now. So just think. They ran through the city, 7th grade, ran through in 8th grade. It was hard, but Coach Chris Milson managed to keep them guys together and put them all on varsity. That way they all can learn at the same pace, practice together. There's no reason to believe that this Manville team shouldn't be a state contender in at least 3 years. At the level of progression, this is what this tournament does. You get to see it. Silsbee High School with Jared Harris. Those guys went and they won this thing. Beaumont United, they won this event when they had what's the young fellas? Not Beaumont United. I'm sorry, Marshall High School in Beaumont. That team is with Beaumont. A lot of them split up between Westbrook and Beaumont United, but that's the team that Elijah Garrett played on. They made it to the championship. The first ever champions was a middle school Hodges being that fed into Bush High School. You know who was a star of that team? Tyler Smith, who plays for the Milwaukee Bucks right now. Hitchcock High School, who's won state back-to-back years and are favorites to get out of this region and go to the state again. That middle school team, that class of the seniors right now with Elijah Sherwood, they won this event back-to-back years. I'm sorry, they didn't win it back-to-back. Let me see. Make sure. It's called Crosby Middle School in Hitchcock. Yeah, they won it back-to-back. They won it back-to-back. Sure did. That's the second team, 2 teams that won it back-to-back. It was that Hitchcock team and now the Manville team. So as you guys see, this middle school city championships is indeed a hell of a sample size for the future. The team that go out in Atascocita and Summer Creek, Autumn Ridge, it's a new school, that team won this event, right? Who won the 7th grade last year? Bowie Middle School in Fort Bend won this event last year, right? So Bowie Middle School would be a favorite this year. Anyway, middle school city championships, go to rcssports.com and check out the links and the rules and everything that you need if you have a team, if you have a middle school, somebody that may qualify. Do them a favor. Everybody doesn't know about this event. and it's going to be a splash, February the 15th and the 16th. That is indeed President's Day weekend. Valentine's Day weekend as well. The day after Valentine's Day is the 15th of February. So check that out. Now, meanwhile, of course, it's 53 minutes past the hour. We'll wrap up NFL talk with, of course, with another topic. And that would be shout out to Corey Henderson. I see you up there in D-Town, Corey. I see you. Ricky Scott. Right? And, of course, I see you. Michael Smith. Icy Mike is in the house, traveling with us. You guys, can we, I'm going to share the show again. Can we get you guys to share, if you would be so kind to do so, on both platforms? If you're in the YouTube channel, give us a thumbs up and share it, if you will, to your Twitter account and whatnot. Now, we got 6 minutes, 5 minutes to continue NFL talk. Now, it's time to talk about them Dallas Cowboys. And is this a good move? Does Deion, should he take the job or stay in Colorado? I'm listening. Should he take the job or stay in Colorado? And of course, and as we wait, because it's a few seconds a day, King Sticks, go to rcssports.com. Open up another screen on your page so you don't leave the chop shop. And you'll see on the middle of the page, it's a link that you can reserve their slot right now for Persian. And we'll double check and vet and see if they qualify or not. If they qualify, we'll follow up and see the roster for them, and you're good to go. That's for the middle school city championships. We want Persian up in there. Cullen is already in. That's HISD. Persian is HISD. HISD say they feeling good about themselves this year. They've never won the A grade division of this event. Not a single HISD team. This could be their year. Now, Deion Sanders. Obviously, ain't nothing is going to transpire with Deion Sanders and Jerry Jones in their meetings without it getting out. There are too many people. Jerry Jones he has too many mouths to feed. His sons have too many mouths to feed. Meaning with media. With media folk, that's how you survive. That's one way that a lot of people survive with protection. Because because you feed nuggets to the media, to your guy, then that means your guy get to break it. And as they break it and it holds true, then the credibility of that guy goes and it establishes itself. This is how it goes in life. Well, so there's numerous people. Remember, Jerry Jones is on the ESPN radio affiliate every week up in DFW. So those are mouths. Remember, he fell out with one of them earlier this year. But those are mouths that he feed. Not to mention, I say his son has mouths he has to feed. And if you're good, I would be certain nowadays that there are secretaries in certain offices that get some name, image, likeness. They get some collective type benefits from certain media outlets of people that to get it in. But you can't make it transparent that way because the boss will know that the secretary gave it up. If this one reporter starts breaking news over and over that you didn't give and you didn't feed him, then it becomes transparent. So the people are smarter than that to let one guy rise up the charts like that. But it's Deion move. I think it's like this, man. If this opportunity presents itself for Deion to go, It was a fun game. Remember, Deion got into coaching his football because of his sons. I don't have any biological. Many of you guys do. But I can only imagine that there's a certain degree of passion that goes into the task of coaching your own sons, especially in football, especially when they're excelling, especially when they're kicking a little ass. I can only imagine. So I wouldn't be mad if he went to went to Dallas. That was a good chapter. And I think it ended. Of course, they lost the bowl game, got their heads beat in by BYU in San Antonio in the Alamo Bowl. I mean, I was there on the sideline, feet on the turf on that particular game. But he's the way that this collective and the direction that it's going. Of course, Colorado just announced yesterday that they have demolished their collective. It only had been started 10 months ago. The collective at University of Colorado, it had raised, they had estimated that it had raised $70 million. Now, see, here's what's coming on down the chutes. I don't understand. I'm not a guru on this, but I understand the common sense and my street sense. Apply that to some of this stuff, and I get it, or I think I get it. Well, the IRS has already mentioned that these collectives is going to be a target of their new laws that will be when they have their meetings. The collectives, these collectives around the country for tax purposes. You follow what I'm saying? Because for that's going to be the target, meaning that it's the threat. I guess it's a high probability that the IRS is going to deem collectives not get the same breaks as a non-profit. Put it like that. Well, when you donate to those, that means if you donate to those collectives, then that means you're going to need a non-profit. You're going to need to go through some different hurdles for your money to be a write-off. Donating to the schools, that's why Colorado abandoned it. That way now they are encouraging and have encouraged all of the, they've canceled the social media pages for their collective. They're canceled, the website is down, everything, all that just like that overnight. And they've encouraged everybody to donate it directly to a particular school fund. That way now, when you donate directly to the school, the colleges, it's automatically protected as a write-off. You don't have to go through any other hurdles. This is so a lot of people, for them to make this move means that there are people up in Washington D.C. are letting them know, hey, you might want to get in front of this. Don't want to get left out. Other schools are going to follow suit or expected to follow suit. Right? Deion get this job. It's a mixed feeling because down in Houston, I've never liked the Dallas Cowboys. I don't hate them. I know a lot of people that hate them. Understand? Trust me. Believe me, the road that I've traveled, I've seen many squabbles. Many people get shanked over Dallas Cowboy football games. I don't hate the Cowboys, but I think seeing Deion, I would be continue rooting for the story of him to have a degree of success. Success that nobody experience for that organization in over 25 years. I think it would be good. I don't see Colorado, even though Colorado had a great recruiting class this coming in. You got to realize they don't have a Travis Hunter. He was. We don't know who's fun to watch for them. They don't have a Shadur coming back. Shiloh was just a free space and bingo. He was, But rest assured that Deion, if he takes that job, he's going to get the opportunity to coach one of those sons. If they had to bring Shiloh in and bring him in camp, that's better than nothing. And I think that what happens to Colorado? What happens to Colorado if this goes down? Who gets that gig? Right? I would think one player that would definitely come to mind, right, is I would think Bieniemy would come to mind. After all, remember, it was just 5 years ago. Bieniemy was the hottest assistant coach in the NFL. Left Kansas City, goes to the Washington Commanders, leaves there, ends up in UCLA as an assistant coach this past season, gets relieved of his duties there. So that means he has a taste of the college football coaching sector. I think Bieniemy would be the guy, or could be the guy, for Colorado. We'll see how that turn out, but I think that for Jerry to have talked and flew Deion in that fast, that promptly, you can best believe that wasn't their first time talking about this job. Or Deion being approached by somebody about this Dallas Cowboy job. That wasn't the first time. You guys ain't crazy. Right? That would probably be the only thing that could make the Cowboys and make Cowboy fans. I think Dallas Cowboy fans are finally at a point where you probably would not hear them proclaim that they're going to the Super Bowl. You don't hear it every year. Every year. I think that the wind has been knocked clean out of all Cowboy fans. The only thing that can resuscitate those Cowboy fans is for them to hire Deion as a coach. Deion can't throw now. And still though, it gives them that the void, the hope that is voided, it would be reignited, possibly just knowing they got a leader. They got a leader who's gonna come in there and understand it worked for him. So that means if Deion, Warren Sapp was his defensive coach at Colorado, it worked for the most part. It didn't work against BYU, but it worked most of the season. That was an experiment that went to the good. So I would have definitely assumed Deion brings in Warren Sapp to coach grown men. got to coach them a little bit differently than you coach those college employees now. Terrell Owens, who was volunteering his services, played for the Cowboys. I think Deion gives him a job. Remember, especially when T.O. went out with that injury, then went over to, I think so T.O. gets on the payroll now. NFL needs some more swag. Needs some more swag. Not mad at that. But you guys, let me look at some of your comments now in regards to that. Big Coach said, didn't he play at Colorado talking about Bieniemy? Yes. That's why I brought his name up. I didn't hear this on no show. This is authentic Jim Hicks. And I'm wondering if somebody else is going to bring the name up or they're going to Bieniemy and thrust him out there. Obviously, something is very wrong. Bieniemy's brother watches the Chop Shop every other day. Troy Bieniemy. He might be on there watching today, right? And something, obviously, people that has prevented him from getting a head job. That's fine and dandy. It is what it is. But this Colorado job, you guys know he loves that school. And now he would not be in charge of having to go and deal with collectives to disperse it out. The school has that kitty. Of course, somebody's going to judge. The athletic director or whoever's going to be somebody on the inside will get appointed as the administrator of something. They're going to create a title for that collective for each school. We're using the word collective. It's no longer going to be called that, but that fund. Somebody has to be in charge of it. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. But yeah. Odyssey says, man, Prime better stay put. They say sometimes the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. I can tell you guys one thing. That guy right there, Odyssey, there may not be two things in the world he hates worse than the Cowboys. I can tell. There might not be two things in the world. Right? Now, as we go and get ready to talk a little basketball, hoops time, baby. On the back nine, we're of course on the Chop Shop, the Midday Sports Happy Hour. We're grooving right now. It is 12 minutes past the hour. If you're on that late lunch break, keep your ear pods in your ear. Don't let the coworker eye hustle your screen, because we're getting it in right now. We don't have but 48 minutes to go. We're going to talk a lot of hoops. And of course, we'll start it off with something that should be definitely intriguing to Robert Earl Haller, right? And that is, last night, them Grizzlies from Memphis rolled into H-Town and was up by double digits in the fourth quarter. And boy, Jalen Green, from beginning to end, Jalen Green had a can of whoopers. He was consistently making a statement. Finished with 42 points on 18 field goal attempts. You guys hear me? 18 attempts. He hit 13 of those. 5 for 6 from three-point land. Hit all 11 free throws. Right? 4 assists, and the Rockets prevailed 120-118 to beat the Grizzlies for the second time in a week. Rockets are in second place in the Western Conference. Of course, OKC Thunder. They've been dominating, as they should. They are the team to beat. But the Houston Rockets, Amen Thompson continues to roll. Another double-double for this young man. 19 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 blocks, 2 steals. Man, understand, Jabari Smith is still out with the left hand injury. Tari Eason is still out with the left leg injury. And these Rockets are continuing to roll. Every game, it's a different player stepping up. Meaning, think about it. Fred VanVleet, well, although he constructed and a great game. He finished with 9 points, but he had 9 assists. He only took 5 shots in this game. Dylan Brooks didn't shoot it well from the field last night. He was only 3 for 11, but 6 rebounds, 4 steals. He was in foul trouble, finished with 9 points. Cam Whitmore continued to do his thing off the bench. 16 points for him in 21 minutes. Aaron Holiday, he played some good minutes last night. Hit a couple of big threes when they were down big and like the Rockets was there, to keep them right there. What you guys say? What do you guys have to say about these Rockets? How you guys feel about these Rockets right now? Big win for them. Now, speaking of the Rockets, according to Bleacher Report, right? They have a proposed trade on the blocks for between the Rockets and Sacramento. It's for Sacramento to give up De'Aaron Fox and Kevin Huerter in exchange for Fred VanVleet, Reed Sheppard, Cam Whitmore, a first-round pick that's top 5 protected in this year's draft, and a first-round pick, unprotected pick in 2027. Is that a good deal? I say it again. Rockets get De'Aaron Fox and Kevin Huerter to give up Fred VanVleet, Reed Sheppard, the rookie, Cam Whitmore, who's very disgruntled, but they're still playing him because the thing is to win, and you want to play him to make his stock, to keep his stock from plummeting. So the Rockets are smart in letting him and continuing to play him. A lot of teams would have just benched the hell out of Cam Whitmore. So what they did was they played Cam Whitmore. They played what's the young fella name? Aaron Holiday. They played Holiday more minutes. Played Brooks Sent the rookie down to the G League. He played 3 games in G League. He scored 49, 24, 19. He ended up averaging, that's an average of probably about 30 points a game or something like that in 3 games, which is solid. Now they're bringing him back. So now it's time to move somebody because the minute slots are going to be there. Reed Sheppard excelled with his assignment to the Rio Grande Valley affiliate. He excelled. But it's Cam Whitmore, guys. Cam Whitmore. And let's take a look at him. What he's doing. And like I said, the Rockets are playing him. Remember, they played in Memphis Thursday night. Beat them Thursday and beat them last night, Monday evening. Played them in different cities, of course. Cam, 21 minutes last night, 16 points. 15 minutes Thursday, 9 points, 3 steals. Last Tuesday, a week from today, he played in the win. 18 minutes in the win over Washington. 17 points in 18 minutes. Then against the Lakers on that Sunday preceding that, the Rockets won. Cam played 16 minutes, scored 8 points, had 4 rebounds. And in the game before that, he played 34 minutes against against Boston, 11 points. He's been quite productive. But I think that his time in Houston has elapsed. It's time for the Rockets to do something, even though he's not a primary target of a trade, but it's time to get him out. I think the Rockets realize it's going to be hard. I think for Reed Sheppard, when they moved him, if I'm not mistaken, I was reading the numbers, Reed Sheppard shot 15% in his last 6 games as a Houston Rocket before they reassigned him. I say it again. He shot 15% in the last 6 games combined. And you don't get that many shots in the NBA when you're coming off the bench, especially being a rookie. You have to make good of your opportunities. So but this will open up. Do they trade Reed Sheppard, or do they continue to negotiate? Continue to negotiate and try to, drop and add some players that are listed in that proposed trade. I'm looking at there's a report now that Shams released that Jimmy Butler has reiterated, went back to Pat Riley and reminded him to get him out of Miami. Jimmy Butler's name came up in some Houston Rocket rumors, just so as De'Aaron Fox's name came up as well. But I'm going to tell you, I was not a fan of the De'Aaron Fox coming to H-Town, but I'm looking at the pieces in this deal. It's not a bad deal. Remember, I believe the Rockets had overpaid for Fred VanVleet anyway. I think they had overpaid for him. Who did they have to beat to give him that big of a deal? But I also know that it's not, you can count on one hand the guys in the last 10 years that then went home and excelled. De'Aaron Fox would consider in his prime. Guys that went home in their prime. Like, yeah, James Harden is in LA right now. He's not in his prime no more. He's not in his prime. Paul Pierce went back to the Clippers, went back home. He wasn't in his prime no more. Kawhi Leonard went back there. Obviously, he wasn't in his prime no more. He was damaged goods coming in. You know, you can go on. Think back a few years. You know, Josh Smith goes to Atlanta. You know, Derrick Rose excelled. He excelled in Chicago. Moved the needle. But what other players besides the one I just mentioned that went back home in their prime, and moved the needle? I'm listening. I know we're on a delay, you guys. I'm looking. So we look at we'll post some of your comments and put them on. King Sticks says, keep Whitmore. King Sticks, did you see Whitmore storm off that court the other game? Herb say, I'm not sure De'Aaron wants to be in Houston. He may prefer to be in San Antonio. San Antonio has heavy rumors of De'Aaron Fox. But the numbers got to match, Herb. You know that. And so whatever Sacramento is asking, San Antonio must not be willing to give it up. Must not be willing to give it up. Because the way it sounds, De'Aaron Fox is coming to Texas for doggone. It's about 90 proof right now. That's some good whiskey. That's some of that stuff right there behind me. That's some good stuff. He's coming to Texas the way it sounds. So that means you're rewarding him. And either way, you know, may not want to be in Houston, but his wife, De'Aaron's wife, family, his in-laws, his wife is from San Antonio. In-laws in San Antonio. So you got built-in babysitters right there. Not that they're worried about that. They're quite sure they have nannies and stuff now. But you got good cooking right there. De'Aaron Fox's parents live in Houston. Among his extended basketball family. Past and or present. He does a lot in the Cypress ISD community. Gives back. I think they have what they call a Fox. I forgot the foundation name. His mom is active with that. She does a lot with mothers in the league. It just bought naming rights last year for what used to be the Rashard Lewis Sports Complex. Used to be, then it was also called Louetta Sports Complex, whereas now they're called the Den, as in Fox Den. De'Aaron Fox them bought naming rights. They don't own the building, guys. They bought naming rights to that. It's a multi-year deal, which they also have. They've started the leagues and heavy on the girls' side as well in that facility. That's in the outskirts of Houston, Cypress, the community of Cypress. So that's going to be interesting. How this thing going on. Keep your ears open, of course. Demetrius says in his Bubba Dub voice, say Jimmy Butler, trash. Oh my God. Jimmy Butler is not in his prime anymore. I don't I can't even I can see One thing about De'Aaron Fox, if he doesn't want to be somewhere, don't even mess with it. Do I think the Rockets have enough to win the championship? No, not this year. I think they're missing one piece, maybe one superstar. I think they're missing one superstar. But the superstar would have to be willing to buy in and sacrifice and do what most superstars have to do when they come into a team that's already successful before you got there. This team this year is playing with house money. Could De'Aaron Fox be able to exist with peace of mind, knowing every 10 steps he take in Houston, there's somebody pulling him to do this, do that, give here, give there, come do this. Now don't get it twisted. He's good. He's great at coming up unreachable. He's great at that. But ain't no way you would be able to get out in this city. De'Aaron Fox is one of those guys like to be left alone too. So we'll see how this goes. Rockets gonna be okay no matter what. Great position. As long as they don't go to mess with Miami. As long as they don't tinker this team for Jimmy Butler right now. Jimmy Butler, a couple of years ago, yeah. My bad, big fella. But if we okay. We good. You ever been on the playground and dude got necks up and the dude come on the run with you, you're like, I already got him. Ain't but two dudes on the sideline. They playing full court, 5-on-5. Dudes, I already got him. So that means he's already saying whatever one of those teams lose, he going to pick up 2 or 3 from each one of those. He already know which ones he going to get because the guys that's losing, normally when they running up and down the court, they peek over to the sideline and tell the guy who got necks up, man, let me run with your necks. You got necks. Or they're pointing, you got necks. And he going to wink or he going to act like he don't hear you. When they act like he don't hear you, that mean he don't really want you. Or he going to see. Somebody might pull up. Some guys already locked in. They know. So Jimmy Butler, we already got him. We good, man. We all right. We all right. So that's in regard to the Houston Rockets. That's news there. Speaking of last night. Speaking of the Spurs, they were the nightcap. I was watching the football game, but Spurs went into LA, knocked off the Lakers, 126-102. Of course, Wemby with 23 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists on 10 for 17 shooting. Chris Paul had a double-double. 13 points, 10 assists, only took 6 shots. Harrison Barnes, 17 points. Does De'Aaron Fox want to be reunited with Harrison Barnes? Or does Harrison Barnes be part of the trade and go back to Sac? That's a good question. I asked some of you guys something to think on. Man, San Antonio don't have a whole lot to offer. How about Charles Bassey? 12 minutes last night. How about that? Way to go. 9 rebounds. 12 minutes for Bassey. That's a hell of a journey for that young man. Speaking of LeBron, 18 points, 8 assists in 32 minutes. Anthony Davis, 30 and 13. Austin Reeves, 12 points. Gabe Vincent. He's been quite a bust for the Lakers, hasn't he? Good Lord. You mentioned heavy trash a lot. Gabe Vincent has been heavy ass trash for the Lakers. Dorian Finney-Smith just picked him up right in the trade. 4 points in 20 minutes. $33 past the hour, guys, on the Chop Shop, the Midday Sports Happy Hour. I'm going to invite you guys to join me right now in sharing the show to your timelines, to your groups, to your pages. Give a share of the Chop Shop, and that way there'll be somebody might want to get into this conversation. Grassroots basketball. It's that time. Grassroots basketball. All right. First, from grassroots basketball, I want to remind you guys, speaking of, that's also coming up in March, and that is the Spring Icebreaker. Spring Icebreaker showcase and tournament, and which has since 2001 has donated, listen to me, since 2001 has donated over $50,000 cash to the basketball community. We've donated over $50,000. Each champion has received $1,000 during each of those 4 years. And to prove we give back. We give back. March the 16th, you can scan that QR code right now with your cell phone on your computer, and to register or list one of your team, reserve a slot for your teams. And that is the Spring Icebreaker. It will be headquartered at the MI3 Center, and we will also use other facilities in that area of town of north to northeast Harris County. We Aldine Davis High School, MacArthur High School, the ULH facility, the gym in Atascocita, C.E. King High School, C.E. King Middle School, Noah Middle School. It's about 27 courts, 27 to 30 courts right there. Very well ran event. This event has been inspiring because when I did it mean started offering the money. My thought was it was a way to give back, and it would help to offset some of the skyrocketing cost of grassroots basketball at the time. So we did that. Teams got their bread right on the spot. Wasn't no waiting on this, waiting on that. Teams got their bread before they got in the car. They left with their money. See, here's one thing about me, guys. There's a lot of people that's not going. Some people don't like water. But one of the reasons that you'll never hear a person when you ask them what's their why, claiming that they dislike me, it will never be for money. Ever. They might put that on my tombstone. Put it on the grave when none of y'all, you reading this, we know you didn't owe him no money. He didn't owe you no money. I pay all tabs. And that can't be said about everybody that does basketball events, especially in Greater Houston. See, it's the part where you go and you start texting folk. tell them they better go and share. You better share the show, or you start hitting them right now. This the part. This the part. This the part. You say, uh-oh. Here come Jimmy. Everybody don't pay their tabs. And one of the things I said when I did this and I started giving back to these teams that win the tournament, understand the first event, I think Thaddeus Moody sent, the first year, Thaddeus Moody sent a couple teams from Chicago, and they come in and took $3,000 of my dollars. Two or three of those teams won first place. Then the next year, former NBA player sent this team from LA. They come out here and win some of my money. But my point is, when I first did it, I say, well, maybe it would inspire. As a lot of things that I've done throughout these 24, 25 years in basketball is I've been a constant motivation, source of motivation. Whether it be for the good reasons or bad reasons that dwells within the person. But I've been a source of motivation for a lot of people in this city. People have gone to realize, I say, well, maybe I can motivate them to start giving back. Start giving back. People in the basketball community, you go and you ask them to play, and you beg them to play in your events. You beg them to come and do this. Beg them, let the kids come to your camps. Beg them to support your efforts. That guy died. You can't even make an hour out of your day to go to the funeral. Those are the type of actions that I beg for you guys, the constituents, the community, to pay attention to. Is a person willing to give back on a consistent basis? So, finally, the efforts of giving back has motivated, understand, they've motivated one young man to go and decide to give away to decide to claim that he's going to give away $1,500 to the winning teams. Now I'm going to tell you guys how this thing gonna go, and you guys save this tape, as Hatter would say, with your what do you say, Hatter? What do you say, with your clipping asses? You clip this. He says he's gonna give $1,500 in an effort to lure teams away from my event. It's the same weekend. Now the same young man, just a month or so ago, went to social media and somebody sent me the thing shortly after he did it, and made a post to say that insinuated that he would no longer be doing events head to head against my events. It also said he was going to keep one event the same weekend. Didn't specify which one it was. I don't know why would that have been so secretive at the time, but it insinuated. So then you come a month later, now you announce you're doing an event that's going against what what I would consider as it's my firstborn. It's my baby. The Spring Icebreaker. It's the granddaddy and the measuring sticks of all basketball events in Greater Houston in the spring. Since the Kingwood Classic, the original, the Hal Pashner version. So, here's what the problem is. The problem is there are several facilities around Greater Houston that have claimed that they did not receive their money, their funds due for the access to their facilities when they were supposed to have been paid. Numerous facilities. There are other facilities a couple of others that have stated that they have received checks that didn't go through. I've spoken with referees that has acknowledged just as soon as this past November that they did not get paid for officiating scholastic events. A scholastic event. Another referee claims he's still owed money from last year from doing an event. If all of those dots hold water, then that is a consistent pattern of deception. Because especially when you combine, there's been events that this young man has hosted that he's claimed to basically overpromise but underdeliver. Hell, that was one year the young man advertised that Cooper Flagg was coming to play in his event. That prompted Cooper Flagg, who didn't know this man from a sack of milk duds, sit there and Cooper Flagg say, I'm paraphrasing, I don't know what y'all talking about, I'm not going there. It's been a pattern of deception. You owed all these people money. You've deceived all these people. I had a grassroots program call me yesterday and claimed that he put them in a hot ass gym called the Playground. They had no heat, no air conditioning. And there were multiple scenes that went on social media from that facility. And that particular program, one thing is unsafe. That didn't compromise the safety of the kids. That compromised their lives of the people and the kids that were playing. And there was no effort made, no concession made. That's the equivalent if you guys going to Jack in the Box and getting a burger and they burn your burger or your burger not even cooked. And what do you say? I want my money back. And they say, well, no, we ain't no refunds. You ain't get no money back. You got to eat that burger just like it is. Then he made no effort to reimburse those teams. That's a sign of secondary deception. And you people in Houston, I know and I hear you guys cry because a lot of you guys have grown to see it. Because at first, it was like, well, he ain't done nothing to me. Why OG so mad? Why he so bitter on this? Because I know what makes that young man tick. I had the opportunity to study him. Study. And as I study human beings for a living, the behavior patterns. If you ain't paid all them people back, first of all, you're not going to pay those teams $1,500 a piece. Tell you what's going to likely to happen. What's likely to happen is when he goes and sees that how many teams are not entering, he's going to save this tape. He's going to revise the divisions and possibly even consolidate them. NBA, NCAA, instead of now, that means now instead of 17, 16s, 15s, that's 3 divisions, you got 2 now. Well, middle school, that's 1 division instead of 3. Elementary A, elementary B. You see? So you'll start taking the fat off the meat. Still, those teams that have got in and paid you, they're not going to be told about that. I'm telling you what's going to happen. They're not going to, so they're going to go in there thinking that they're playing in their age division, which it really does matter to those lower age sub-high school teams. That's what's going to happen. It's going to happen. And then those teams, I'll be sitting there with my net and I'll be waiting. And when they don't get paid, and when the ones that get messed over, then I will make one of those Suge Knight speeches. But if you don't want to be dancing in the videos, come on over here to this event. Just like that team. That you sit there, if you've done good by people. And what happens is when you don't do good by people, it will come back and pay its dividends. It's going to collect in some form or fashion. This is a great panic move. It's going to get some of you guys' attention. But you guys know deep in your heart, if you got to enter an event questioning, do you think they really going to pay? Chances are you already know the answer before you get into that. You already know the answer. Y'all don't hear me. So, why would you put yourself in that position? Many of you, first of all, know you don't have a team that can win first place any damn way. So you're going for the organization of it, for that way somebody's going to be right and going to do right. So why would you do it anyway? I told you how he's going to do. And you got that for tape. Now, I'm not done. I'm going to tell you what else he's going to do. Oh, parents. Here's what you do. I challenge every parent. Or every parent. Because grassroots coaches, they're going to, remember, some maybe already be compromised into deals that if you play in this event, or if you play in his event, then he may rank your kids higher. Guys, I don't do rankings no more, but every college coach out there knows. What does it say? Winter 2025. I still do cheat sheet books. The college coaches still get this book with these kids' information in there. They read it. If you got to sell the soul of your program for the quest of a ranking on a kid, a fake ass ranking. That's what I call it. No different than a fake offer. A fake ranking. then you get what's coming to you. So, parents, here's what he's going to do. He's going to raise the price of admission to either $20 to get in a head or $25 a head. That's what he's going to do. So now that cost of that first place prize is basically one big raffle jar that's at the front entrance table that you guys are contributing to. That's what that is. That's what he's going to do. So how do you combat that? You let the coach know if your babies are playing, you need to find out how much is the admission going to be. And then you'll get your answer right there. How much is there's nobody that's doing an event right now that don't know what they're charging. And their event is 60 days away. You know what you're charging. For you to do that math, I've been there. I did the $1,000 giveaway math. So for you to do the $1,500 giveaway math, that's and the way that you operate, I know how you're going to try to do it. And it ain't gonna work. Because I know these people are growing sick and tired of being sick and tired of your bullshit. I ain't about to do nothing. I told you guys, just sit back and wait. Remember Forrest Gump? Remember one of his cliches from that movie about stupid? Well, janky is as janky does. And I guess, you know, I don't believe that this young man, I don't believe he's a bad person. But there's good people that do bad stuff. Some people he's the equivalent in the basketball community as Eddie Haskell on Leave It to Beaver. He's the Eddie Haskell in this thing. They're going to raise those prices at the gate. That means your team has already paid their admission. And it ain't much your parents can do about it. He's not going to advertise the prices. Because he wants you to walk up to the door. Then you realize what the price is. So now you're just going to be you got to walk the green mile to go back to your car. Or just say, oh man, the hell with it. I'll go and pay this $20, $25. He's probably not going to give no weekend passes. I wouldn't be surprised. Think about how much that is for you to watch your babies play. You see? See what I'm saying? So you guys got to charge up that grassroots coach. They're going to be hitting you up for pay your dues in February. Maybe some as early as January. You got to let them know, hey, look. If I get this money right here, this first event, if you're going over here, then you can take my little old money out of that because we're going to sit this one out. If 3 or more parents say they're sitting it out, guess what that coach is going to do? He got to make a business decision. You got to make a business decision. I just spoke to a team that tried to get into the Spring Icebreaker on yesterday. Right? Of course, the Spring Icebreaker, you guys know, that's the event that's taking place March the 14th through the 16th. Right? I had a team that got in, and they had like 6 teams. I gave them a deal. And I say, listen, here's what I'm going to save you. But if I give you this deal, I need you to do something for me. He says, what? I said, I need you to take some of that money that I'm for to save you. And I need you to promise me that you would even just think about it. I can't make you do nothing with your money. But if I'm going to save you this money, I want to ask you to earmark it to take 8. If your kids got, he said, how many you got on the team? He said, 8 kids on one team. He think he's going to take 8. Because he'll pick up maybe 2 more later on. I say, you get one parent from each one of those 8 kids and offer to pay their admission for one day to come in my event. You offer to do that. If you got to turn around and give the money back to me, and we'll have the tickets at the armbands at the door, but you pay, but you let them know that you're doing this. Let me know. It ain't like they get in free. Let them know that you're doing this. Your team is paying for one day. Then they got to pay their other day or whatever they want to do. But you do that. And that coach say, Jim Hicks, done deal. That's a great ass idea. I say, because you know what? Your parents going to love you. Because ain't no summer coach probably done bought them a ticket collectively to get in an event for one day. So I can save you the money and you can pass it on. That's giving back. That's the true element of giving back. And you guys know when you come and play in my events or our events, then you know the element of giving back is going to be enforced at some form. It's going to reciprocate back to our community. Otherwise, you go across the street and basically you're part of a mutual fund that's going to be the source of a splurge in the Galleria. You guys get what I'm saying? So that's the part I want to lay on you guys as I close today's Chop Shop. And we had a couple more minutes left because we had started a few minutes late. So I see the clock. But you guys understand what's at stake. You are the consumers. Don't let people in this basketball treat you otherwise. Parents, you have more power than you believe, especially right now. You galvanize, you communicate. Most teams have parents right now. Everybody's willing to be in the group text right now because it's optimistic. So everybody in the group text right now, everybody's going to respond and laugh, and everybody's going. So this is the perfect time to throw that question to the coach or to the other parents. What if this event we're going to and they charge $20-$25? Y'all okay with that? With paying that? And one parent said, well, what else are we going to do? Well, you got choices. You damn sure got choices. If everybody starts exercising their right to choice, everybody starts exercising their right as a consumer. Everybody, and more importantly, if everybody starts holding people more accountable for their actions and lack thereof. Take time. But boy, it'll be a much better place. See, people say, well, man, Jimmy tripping. But if I don't say nothing, who has the nuts to do so publicly. And it's so funny because you guys know how I roll. Ain't many in my day-to-day or week-to-week circle. So I've spoken with many of people in this city. And they know, and they all, with about a 90% approval rate or disapproval rate, has expressed their disgust. So then I said, well, what's your solution? Well, if you don't like this, then why don't you say something about it? And so then you get into that's how the sides were created. Once again, every single accusation or complaint encompassed that I just mentioned to you in the last 40 minutes encompassed money. All of the complaints dealt with money or the lack of, or money not paid, or money that was expected, and money that wasn't refunded. Money, it was money. And you ain't paid all them people back. And you want these people to believe you for to give $1,500 to the woman. See, what I did now, I done forced the hand now. Because there's been several events you just cancel and pull the plug all together. I done made him go through this thing now. But you guys know. And those of you know, you definitely know. I see you out there for them. Coach Farb in Atlanta, Georgia. Reading this right here. But you guys know. Wait a minute. Somebody say you went to Made Hoops this week at MI3 and it was $45. For how many days? For how many days? Mr. George, how many days was that? Eric Baker say that ain't the worst of it. He say hasn't paid and has no intention of paying, respectfully. You guys know out there. I'm telling you. You guys know. Dora says she has a solution. Dora says PTI Houston 6 days a week for $300 flat. I'll split up the fee if needed. So that's so you guys be well, be cautious. I'm checking out some of your comments. Make sure you share the show on your way out the door. This was a good convo, good run. We know how this going in, and for you guys that are watching, if it's a lie, let me know. Tell me what a lie was at. Tell me what a lie was at. You speak with your actions. You got enough sample size. Before 3 years ago, you didn't have enough sample size. That was only a couple of hot checks in on his side of the fence. So you really didn't know. It's, oh man, that's just a couple of hot chicks. Everybody in the road made an accident. Now, it's a big enough sample size. There's enough facilities out there that he can't go in. You know that. So, you guys, you talking about do better. It starts with y'all. It starts with y'all. Remember that. You coaches out there, you take heed. And you look around. A couple of guys that done helped him out. Remember, they no longer with us in this world. A couple of guys that supported him, they no longer with us. That means your ass could be next. Your ass die tomorrow. That's one guy that you got used. He won't even come and pay respects. To bring a case of water to your folks' house at in the time of bereavement. That's cold. Then again, they say ain't nothing in the world. It's two kinds of people, givers and takers. And one of them has no limits. Anyway, guys, share the show anywhere out the door. We'll see you guys on tomorrow, Women Rock Wednesday. Thanks for everybody for tuning into the Chop Shop. Make sure you, once again, share this show. Splice it, share it, do what you want to do with it. Appreciate you guys. You know I'm here for you. Peace. And I am out of here.